Welcome to an incomplete guide to personal growth. We invite you to take a breath and take a listen to our podcast that explores the wonder, humor, challenges, and sometimes those self-inflicted wounds on the journey of personal growth.
Our weekly podcast conversations include stories, resources, and tools that you can incorporate into your daily life. We're the mother-daughter duo of Sydney West
and Kelly Arundel. Hey, Sydney.
Hi, Mom. So with waking up regularly now, we're on a schedule, have our schedule going.
Yeah, with Charles.
Yeah. And so I've been thinking a lot okay, how do you tell if he's like a morning or a night or maybe late, like sleeper or not?
Yeah.
That's the thing. I wonder how early you can kind of tell. He wakes up pretty well. And I do know, like you've always said,
Yeah. You've always woken up early.
Yes.
Always.
And Lauren my sister, she's always slept. She's always been a sleeper.
Yeah.
She pretty much since we were kids.
As a baby.
Yeah.
So
I just wonder, how early, that you can tell. And I think in some ways, I think
he's a sleeper.
He is a sleeper. Not late, but if he could, I bet he'd sleep until 8 o'clock.
Maybe. But he goes to bed. I mean, he's ready for bed. He's the one going night.
That's true.
When we're still, you're still up with them or,
right,
if I'm watching them, he's still up. Yeah. And it's like, night. I'm like,
yeah.
Okay.
I know. And I feel like it can change, though, because, you are not necessarily a morning person.
No, and there's a difference between wanting to sleep and being a morning person. I may be awake early.
Yeah.
But I'm not a morning person. I don't want to talk to people.
Right.
I want to be by myself. I'll go run, I'll go sit, have my coffee, whatever.
Yeah.
But that disruption in the morning.
And that's not me either.
No, you're chatty and you and Dad are ready. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh.
Which is why you then woke up even earlier to get your
Yes, when I was a kid, I can remember I'd put a cereal box in front of my face.
Oh my God.
So that nobody
you wouldn't have to talk.
Yes, that was my symbol for them. Of course, my mom would talk anyway, but
yeah.
I wouldn't respond. I'm like,
watch my cereal box.
Leave me alone. I'm reading the cereal box
so
for the same every morning.
Even from a young age.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like those are habits that tend to, stick with us. I mean, and of course life can make us, become more of a morning person than we like. But I mean, for the most part, those habits.
But it's
those
your preference and natural.
Yeah.
Sleep patterns. So, I don't know.
That's funny. Yeah. So we'll see. I don't know how Charles will be. He wakes up okay, and he goes, man.
Yeah.
He wakes up.
Yeah.
But we'll see if he ends up being a sleeper.
Yeah. Don't disturb my morning, please.
Right.
That's right.
Okay. So this month's theme, we're talking about seasons. Yeah. One thing that we're really excited about this month is we're going to have an interview with some sound bath practitioners, and they wrote a book called Seasons of Sound. So we kind of took some inspiration from that to kind of make our whole month about seasons. So today specifically we're talking about seasons of life, kind of making it general, and then we'll kind of get more narrow with maybe seasons of health or seasons of relationship but general seasons of life this week. So let's dive in, and can you explain to us what that might, seasons of life? I also think of cycles and what seasons mean. Yeah, what does this mean? Well,
first of all, I think it's so ironic that here we are in San Antonio,
oh my God,
which has 2 seasons.
Hot and
1 day of cold.
Yeah.
And so, we can't, spring sometimes you get excited about, but it just never lasts.
No, not very long.
You're not sure how fast, and then summer lasts through October at least.
At least, yeah.
And you're still wearing shorts and hot. And it's
kind of fall.
You get a fall kind of for a couple days, but then it's winter, but then fall and winter are just
They're basically the same.
And we don't have changing leaves because
No.
We don't have that.
No.
Very few anyway.
Yeah.
So here we are talking about seasons and wishing we had some. But then again, I like being able to be outside year round.
All the time.
Without having to put parkas on.
That is true. Parkas.
So there's some benefits.
It's such a specific jacket type to think about.
It is, isn't it?
That's
I'm
funny.
a specific person.
Yes.
Not.
Not.
Okay. So when I talk about seasons, we're not talking about age related, because we always hear that. Oh, you're in the fall of your life. Well, don't tell me that. But yeah, I think it is. We go through seasons in our lives, and I'm going to start instead of ending. I'm going to start with a poem, and this is written by Macrina Whitaker. She's a Benedictine nun who she's passed away, but anyway, she comes from a book that she wrote. It's called Four Seasons. I arise, and it'll give you an idea. I'm sorry, it'll give you a little bit of an idea of what we're talking about, what it feels like.
Yeah.
I arise today. I arise today with spring in my eyes, clear circling air, shining inspiration, wings of hope, unfolding buds, happy roots, blossoms of joy, necessary storms. This is my inheritance in this vibrant new season. I arise today on the wings of spring. I arise today with summer in my heart. Fire of enthusiasm, burning sun, abundant life, playful spirit, nesting birds, lush meadows, growing gardens. This is my inheritance in this vibrant new season. I rise today in the arms of summer. I rise today with autumn in my soul. Waters of wisdom, graceful aging, transforming colors, crunching leaves, fruitful harvest, sweet surrender, life-giving death. This is my inheritance in this vibrant new season. I arise today in the breath of autumn. I arise today with the winter in my being, resting earth, gracious darkness, dreaming seeds, barren trees, frosty breath, glowing fireplaces, empty spaces. This is my inheritance in this vibrant new season. I arise today in the heart of winter.
I like it. And what book is that?
This is from The Circle of Life. It's by Joyce Rupp and Macrina Whitaker. It's The Heart's Journey Through Seasons.
Nice.
And it's a nice book. But I love that because each season
has its purpose.
Is vibrant.
Yeah. She does. She calls all of them vibrant. Yeah.
Yes, each season holds it. And there's one of the things that struck me is when I was reading it this time again was in spring, necessary storms.
Yeah.
Even in the spring when things are just popping and you just think, but the storms are necessary to water the earth and to water.
And then fall, it's something about death. Oh, you're good.
Yes. Life-giving death.
Yeah, that's the word. Yeah.
That is so powerful because as we talk about this, so when I think about seasons and seasons in our lives, there are times when, okay, let's take college.
Okay.
For example.
Okay.
You're excited about going to college, right?
Yeah.
And you've gone through this season. Let's say you're graduating. Okay.
Okay.
Well, that is the falling off.
Yeah.
Of this time of, well, for some, there's a real time of freedom, time of play, a time of growth, a time of learning. And so you're going to be saying goodbyes.
Yeah.
And there's a sadness to it. But it's life-giving because you're looking to the next thing.
Yeah.
You're looking toward maybe job, career.
Yeah.
Moving to a different place.
Yeah.
So that, that kind of thing. And,
I guess with that, so like, let's do this question first.
Okay.
I guess it can vary how long all these seasons last, right?
Yes. And it's not like one jumps into the next all the time. You can be going along and life slams you with something. Yeah. And your spring ends and you end up in winter.
That's what I was wondering too, is like, it doesn't necessarily have to follow the order.
You can be in San Antonio and just never have a winter. No, I'm just kidding. Everybody will have those winters. It may be a day. Yeah. But no, so they don't just go. You can, sometimes you can sense it and you can see that.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is like, if you're with a partner, they may be going in a whole different season than you.
Yeah.
And you have to hold those and recognize, oh, I'm in the waiting time, and they are taking off in their career or in something, and in their hobby, and whatever may be going on with them. And you're waiting.
Yeah.
You're planting these seeds that you cannot even see that seem dormant.
Yeah.
But they're not. Right?
And it's hard to hold both.
Yeah.
So can we, before we keep talking about them, let's define, kind of your poem kind of did that, but let's define again what each season means and what happens in each
season. Okay. Yeah. I never know which one to start with.
I know.
But,
like, where does the year really start? I don't know.
I'll go ahead and start with fall.
Okay.
Okay. So it's like I said, it's the endings. And I've letting go. When we moved from Arlington, there was this long letting go process. Paul had already moved.
Yeah.
Y'all were finishing up school. The job that I was in, I had been holding on to only because it was going through a very rough time at the church I was working at. And I didn't want to leave in the midst of all this pain that was going on and change. And I wanted to make this transition. And then I was going to. So there was... I knew I was saying goodbye. It wasn't like I was a lame duck, like you hear. Right?
Yeah.
But it's this time of, I know I'm going to be saying goodbye. Relationships, as I know them, are ending. Because I won't see these people every day. I won't be working with these people every day. There's closing up of houses. There's closing. And I can remember going to each room of the home and writing memories down. Because that was an important house for us.
Yeah, it was.
Home for us, really. And so... It's that type of, I know this is ending. There's beauty in it because you've had these treasured relationships. You're kind of looking forward, but you don't know yet.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's one example of a fall.
Yeah.
It can be with a job. It can be relationships. It can be...
any of those.
Just any of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's fall. And then...
winter. Let's go in order.
We'll go into winter. Yeah, winter is a time most people don't like it.
Yeah,
introverts probably have the best time with it. But it's also, it can be frustrating, but it's a nourishing time. If you're a farmer, you know that you have to let the soil lay fallow. It has to rest to get the nutrients back.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
Or they plant different things, right?
Yeah.
So winter is kind of like that time. It feels dormant. I was in winter when it just happened to go into there when we moved.
After we moved,
because I was waiting. I was waiting. I didn't know what I was going to be doing next, and I didn't want to jump into something. So there was a waiting time of, okay, we moved, and y'all were,
in school,
for Paul, he was in a whole different season because he was starting this new job, and it was exciting, and da-da-da. And y'all were in school, kids. I'm guessing y'all have seasons. I don't know. But, but I was in my own little season. And it wasn't enjoyable.
Yeah.
It was hard. I could find joy, but it was still hard, right? So it's kind of like a waiting. And if we can get into it and recognize it as such, it helps us to rest and go, this isn't forever. Yeah. This is now. And it doesn't mean we're not moving through life. It just means that we feel this complacent. There's something missing. I'm needing something. I don't know what. I'm gonna wait for this.
A reflection time.
That's good. Yeah, very much a reflection time.
Yeah.
And then comes spring, which... and I'm sorry, let's go back to winter. When you think about real winters where people bundle up and they're covered up, right? That's a winter. You're just snuggled into things, cocooning almost.
Yeah.
Then there's spring, which tends to be kind of an exciting time because there's growth, there's newness, there's a nurturing. When you think of people, other than myself, that plant... that do tomatoes. It's an exciting time. You look at people when they're at the nurseries, and in springtime, everybody is so excited, and then they plant them early and they freeze.
Yeah, that's true.
But it can be. It's the time of anticipation because you're nurturing something. You think you know where it's going to go, but you don't know.
Yeah.
But you're tending it and you're watching it and it's joyful.
And you can see it.
Yeah, and there's just this shedding, right? Because we don't have to wear all the jackets.
All the layers
we get to, it's so nice out, right?
Yeah.
And the rains come and they're refreshing rains. Mm-hmm. They're,
they're nice.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, so we move through that. Maybe it's a new hobby you're starting. Maybe and you're meeting new friends or you're doing that kind of thing. And then summer comes and it's still kind of a playful time. Summer's always interesting to me because it starts off with great momentum.
Yeah.
But I've never seen a summer that didn't end with a thank goodness.
Yeah.
But, it's like, okay, everything is drying up.
Yeah.
Right? There's a lot of playful. I love summer because it is playful. And schedules drop away some. And there's just a relaxing of the days are longer. Oh, thank goodness there's bright. Same with spring, right? They start getting longer and we're so thankful because winter has been dark.
Yeah.
So there's that in the summer. And then in the summer, toward the end, things are drying up.
It's like too much of a good thing, Yes.
Yeah. I need a little bit more of my schedule back. I need a little bit. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know that it always happens, but to me, summer is the easiest transition to see.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you're like, okay,
I'm ready.
And I'm ready. I'm really, really ready.
Yeah.
And I think about that with Arlington and that job. It was like, I really am.
You're ready to move on.
I've dried up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have these seasons. Mm-hmm. And I feel like there's still, you kind of touched on it, just like this almost transition time in between seasons too.
There's a little bit of one. It's the recognizing of that. Okay. I think is if so much of personal growth, all this takes reflection and an awareness of where you're at and what's happening. Sometimes we get slammed and it takes us a minute to get our bearings and go, okay, this just happened. I just got let go. I just got, there was a death in the family. I got bad news. I got a diagnosis, and then we'll go, okay. But a lot of times there is a transitioning. If you watch, you begin to get weary of something. This isn't really going, what do I need in my life? Yeah. What am I missing? What is it? And so there's this transitioning of dropping off maybe. Yeah. Into, okay, do I want to jump into something or do I want to wait? Rest, I hear people, say, I have to learn to say no. Yeah. I hear that a lot. And that's listening to yourself going, this what I'm doing right now is too much or it's not for me. Yeah. Let me be in my winter and think about it. And, then spring comes. So there's, definitely. I don't know. Yeah. And they last different depending on what you're going through.
Yeah. They really can. And there's this idea that, you can jump between. See, you can go from winter to spring really quick, or you can do you can be in spring and then drop back. Yeah,
you can be. I can be sitting in winter, and maybe be there for a short time. And if somebody comes up and goes, "I have this idea, and I think it'd be really cool if we did this," and you're like, "I didn't know that's what I was waiting for, but that's it." Yeah, and then you're moving into a different phase, definitely, or you're doing,
Is there I guess some reassurance, for our lives that we can take from this, I guess there's always the idea that we're moving through something,
Yeah, I think so. And one of these things is there's seasons. They don't last forever. Yeah. Okay. The impermanence, nothing is permanent. This is today. Right. This is this month. This is not forever. Yeah.
I was just thinking.
I mean, even grief, grief, that loss will stay with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it will, but even that you will notice changes within yourself.
And so I was just thinking, it's you may have a favorite season to be in, but at some point you really don't want to be in it forever, because each season I think has its purpose. Like if I was always in summer, oh my gosh, I'd get so freaking exhausted.
Well, yes.
You know, and so you need to start moving towards that winter,
ebb and flow,
you need the rest.
Right, you need the rest and you need growth. Growth takes place underground in the winter that you don't see. You don't see it, but it's going on.
And then spring, if something's always new, then you're gonna start to feel kind of unsettled almost. So you want to start to settle into something, you know?
Yeah, right. I mean, you think about that. I think of pro athletes.
Yeah.
Okay, they have a span. You know, even Tom Brady.
You know, our fave.
And if you're not preparing for that next phase,
yep.
I've you know, the Olympics this past summer, right? I've often heard that athletes after the Olympics, especially when it's their last Olympics, they struggle because life is centered around them. Their family's life pretty much centered around everything's centered around them. Their training, their eating, their everything. And then they're not that.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Yeah.
So
they're kind of forced into this fall.
They are,
winter, you know, and it's
and
like
a
what
winter.
do I do
And
with
if you don't acknowledge the winter and you dive right into spring, without any time to reflect,
it may not be as successful.
Next,
you know, your plants may die because they didn't get the nutrients from before.
And so, you know, people can be in the midst of the Olympics and still be playing in the winter of life, going, "What's next?" I mean, so it just doesn't.
Interesting,
isn't it? Yeah, you can be in the midst of doing some, you know, this highlight, but underneath, if you listen deep in, you're going, what now?
Yeah. And sometimes I think, oh man, it sounds exhausting. Just life as a cycle and doing the same thing over. But each one is different, you know, depending on what your life is going through. So it feels new.
Oh, it does.
I think each time you reach
because
each
it's
season.
different. Because by the time I'm falling off, you know, whatever the fall may be for me, it's not what it was when we were moving before.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel anything like that.
Right.
There's similarities, but it's not, because I'm saying goodbye to different things now.
Yeah.
And I'm saying hello to new things.
Yeah.
So it's constant newness. And just because we leave, I mean, the friendships that I have from Arlington.
Yeah, they're still there. Yeah.
I mean, it was hard saying goodbye, but I am still in contact. And we still have relationship.
Yeah.
Right? So
that's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like relating like the cycle to seasons, because I think that's just like such a good visual for people to use when it comes to their own, rather than like talking about, oh, well, you have a time of rest that goes into a time of, you know, rebirth that goes into this. It's just like, I like the better idea of like the visual of winter, spring, summer, fall.
Right.
You know?
And I'm going back to that poem. I love the fall one, because I love a fruitful harvest. We're saying goodbye, but we're harvesting what all the wonderful things from this past event. Yeah. This past year, this past part of our lives, whatever that was, we're harvesting that.
Yeah.
And that means
I like it.
That means you're taking wonderful things from it. And isn't it amazing that in the fall, when things are dying and falling off, there's beautiful colors.
Yes.
Right? As part of that. And it's life-giving death. If I were to stay in this rut, I'd be dying in a different way.
Yeah.
This death is life-giving. This goodbye, this moving to something new, changing whatever it may be I'm changing, is life-giving.
Oh, that's so good.
And it doesn't get better than that.
No.
You know?
No. Yeah. I like that visual.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. I think so. Every season has these wonderful benefits.
Yes.
Some may feel harder, or some parts of it. The start of fall feels great, doesn't it?
Yeah, it feels awesome.
It's so crisp and lovely out.
Yeah. And then you really see everything.
Yeah. Then you go, oh yeah, I forgot.
Yes. And I think too, sometimes the start of winter can be hard, because it's like, well, where it's actual cold. But when I've lived in places that are cold, it's like, oh my gosh, I got to get this check. It's like, kind of jarring. But then you kind of get into the coziness of it, and like
you
all that.
Into it,
yeah, you settle into
you go,
it.
Oh yeah,
you know?
This is the time that we're going to spend a little more time on the couch, snuggling up here, watching whatever, or, you know.
Yeah, so you can kind of settle into it.
Or if you're a skier, whatever it may be, you find things that you do.
That
make your winter bearable.
Yes. And then definitely by the time summer comes around, by the end of it, you're ready.
Right? And I think that's the
You're ready
beauty
for
to
it.
listen to ourselves, because sometimes we don't give ourselves that space to go, something's missing, or I'm really tired of this. I need to move on. Oh, but that's
Right.
too scary. I won't do that. And
Yeah.
we don't
Yeah.
see that. So we may stay stuck. We may stay longer than we need to, or
Yeah.
whatever that may be.
Yeah. And that definitely takes time and self-awareness to be like, what season am I in? Where do I need to move? Yeah. How do I
Yeah.
need to process?
Yeah, and just to recognize, oh, I'm in this. Oh, that's okay. There's some great things that come from this season.
Yeah.
And even with the hardness, there's some good things that come from this. And to remember that every season has a beauty to it, has something that is essential for our lives.
Yes.
You would think of the ground and what happens, and with that, it's
Yeah.
essential. It's
Essential
just essential for our lives. And so each season offers that.
Yeah.
I think those that are closer to the land than we happen to be
Understand
that more. What needs to take place and
Yes.
what's needed, and
Yeah.
so yeah,
Definitely.
I think that
Love it.
yeah.
So that's our intro to
Right.
seasons.
Think about take some time to reflect about what season you may be in.
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Let us
Yeah.
know. You can comment on our Instagram post for sure. Tell us what season of life you're in. We can share it with each other. And if you have any questions about our past episodes, or maybe as you listen to the seasons when some come up, please email us. We'd love to hear from you. Next week, we're going to dive into some relationship seasons, how that looks, and getting a little more specific about it. So yeah, I'm excited.
Look forward to next Tuesday when we take a breath and take a listen.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of An Incomplete Guide to Personal Growth. There are many ways you can stay connected. Follow us on Instagram at An Incomplete Guide Podcast, where you can sign up for our email list and get posts that delve deeper into our weekly topics. Make sure to subscribe to our podcast page wherever you listen to your podcasts. We would really appreciate a rating and sharing us with your family and friends.
We're so glad you chose to spend your time with us, and hope there was a thought, a resource, or a laugh that you can take on your journey. We'll be here every Tuesday for you to take a breath and take a listen.